The first time it happened to me, I was 5 years old. I just ran blindly into this backyard of this house in front of me. There was my mother. I said, "Where are we? Where's our house? Why are you here? Whose backyard is this?" And she said, "Well, it's our backyard." I said, "Well, everything looks different. I don't recognize anything." She put her finger in my face and she said, "Don't ever tell anybody because they'll say you're a witch and they'll burn you." I knew that from this moment on, my life would be different. I was going to have to learn why things look different. I would have to figure this all out. I have DTD, which stands for Developmental Topographical Disorientation. It's just not something that other people can understand because they couldn't see what I was seeing. It's almost as if somebody picks up the entire world, turns it, and sets it back down. It's everything. It's the universe has turned. It was just an every single day survival story. Going to school, I couldn't tell my friends or my sister who I walked to school with. I followed them. I just continued following them, knowing that they were going to this school that was going to look different. It was so hard to concentrate. I'd sit in class. Instead of paying attention to the teacher, I was trying to absorb these walls. This whole room looks so different. This isn't the way I remember the room being. It's turned like this.
Yeah, but if this is the bed, then the hallway should be right there and a bathroom behind it
Yeah.
and one bedroom.
Yeah, except
That's
that-
the whole apartment anyway.
Except that it's, when I look at it now, it's turned at a 90-degree angle so that I still see that hallway going back there, but it's like I'm in a different apartment.
Wow,
It's just, it feels so strange to look at it and see it that way now.
isn't that interesting?
I know, it's crazy.
We were such good little girls.
Look at Mother.
I mean, I look at that and then I know now what you've gone through all these years, and I look at that and it just gives me a pang in my heart.
Water brings it on. Lakes, oceans, just bodies of water, small or big. When I'm standing by a pool, if I look into the water, those lines start rippling. Makes me really, really dizzy. Living in Denver, the mountains are always on the west side of town. I'll be driving along. Suddenly, there will be the mountains looming on the north end of town. And that's when I know what's happened to me. I just wish that you could see it when I see them over there instead of over there. Just that sense of being lost when it's something you don't have any control over, and I'm just totally out of control. I don't know what I would do without you being my eyes.
Well,
I mean, how many years have you been my eyes? Wish I
Well,
could
a lot
put
of
your
years.
Not long after my first episode, I discovered when I went to a birthday party, they played Pin the Tail on the Donkey. Each time I was turned around, it would make it happen, or the next time it would correct it. Little 5-year-old brain that I had discovered that there was a little sensation. I still to this day can't explain what it is. It's not a sound, and it's just a sensation that suddenly everything feels right again. I decided one day that I would be brave and I would go to an eye doctor, because by that time I was thinking, maybe it's my eyes. Maybe there's something horribly wrong in my eyes. I can't even explain how frightened I was to have just told this to somebody for the very first time. And he looked at me and he laughed. And he said, "I think you're crazy." I got married and I didn't tell my husband because I was just as ashamed and embarrassed to tell him that I would have been to tell anybody else. Some of the scarier moments were when my children were lying in their cribs at night, and if they were to shout out in their sleep or cry, I would jump out of bed and go right into a wall. Felt my way around in the dark and had to listen because I didn't know where their bedrooms were. I just had to keep following the sounds of the cries until I found them and could comfort them and get them back to sleep, and then find my way back to my bedroom. When I did finally start telling people, it just became, my life became easier because then it wasn't a secret to keep anymore. I got to a psychologist that I started seeing, and he did help me with a lot of emotional types of issues that I had for so many years. But he said the basic issue of rotation, I don't feel it's something that we can help you with. Several years later, I was watching a TV show about this research at a university in Vancouver. Suddenly the question started to shift to things like, have you ever been someplace that you know should look familiar to you, and suddenly it doesn't look familiar to you? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. That's me. I wasn't crazy, and it wasn't psychological. Other people out there have exactly the same thing that I do. What I learned to be DTD took place in a small part of the brain that took care of navigation. All the secrets and all the shame and the guilt and everything else that goes with it. That terror is gone.